It's Jefferson Parra, and I'm going to talk you about some terms that we find in the business world. So let's start with trade. Trade basically is the exchange of products, goods, or services that a person has with another product or services or goods that in this moment the person that possess. Basically, that's trade. There's an exchange of some products or goods with another product goods that the person doesn't have in that moment or the person or a country or a company needs in that moment. Also, we can find in the business world words like or terms like free trade. Free trade basically is when a country opens its gates to the world, so it starts to export to import some products, some goods that it doesn't have, maybe money, maybe services, and another country has in that moment, but the country that need that product doesn't have it. So he opens his gates, he start trading, start a free trading. Basically, free trading or the free world means that they do like a like a contract to avoid some taxes and things like that, so they can do its exports or imports or its exchange free tax. They don't have to pay a lot of taxes or any tax at all. Also, we find globalization. Globalization is a procedure, economical, cultural, technology. It's a procedure that means that there's a connection between the world. Nowadays, you can see that you can access to a new technology, to a new maybe new cultural things, new. You can now maybe travel around the world without any warm or anything like that. You can do it nowadays because the globalization means that now is a link between all the countries that is around the world. Now you can access to certain products, certain goods, certain services that in the past we cannot do it. Maybe in the past the industrial countries or the development countries um, were in the top of the trade, and nowadays with the globalization, a small country, third world country can now import its products or export its products to the big country just in order to make its economy to grow. That's basically what we found out in globalization. For some people, the free trade doesn't contribute to the growth of the country because that means that you are now working with another country that can maybe disappear some small or the local market now because you have but you can find big companies that made the best I don't know shoes or they made the best um, fries or maybe the best clothes. So the local markets start um, degrading themselves. So the local market will disappear with this free trading thing, But for other people, the free trade or the globalization is really good in order to grow in a country to a small country start to grow its economy because it's going to export some products. It's going to be now in the map. I mean, this country that were before like like next like outside of the globalization world. Now it's going to be in the globalization world. It's going to show all these products, all the things that it have to show, all the technology that it has, all the products that it has. So now with the free trade, with the globalization, it's going to contribute that country because it's going to show everything that the country has, and maybe it can start exports its products, and maybe a big country is going to be interested in that product because it needed things like that. So for some people, the free trade of the globalization it works in order to make economy to grow. And that's basically one of the things that we don't need to know about trading and globalization, world free trading. Also, we have these called sweatshops, and the sweatshops is like it's like cheap labor. I mean, like China or India, that they they do cheap labor. They work in that called sweatshops. That is to work with or make the people work for really low money. Uh, as I said before, countries like China maybe start to grow to grow really quickly because they start to work like that, work really cheap. All the countries, all the industrialized countries that need to maybe um, create another product, make it, but in that country the labor was really cost really um, for a really high price, and they start to look for a country that its labor was really cheap. So China started to do that, and now China is an industrialized country. They made almost everything you can find, almost everything made in China. You find chairs made in China, shoes made in China, cell phones made in China, because and that products are really cheap. But mean cheap doesn't mean that is a good quality. Some products made in China are not really good uh, because they cheap. So the materials are cheap. So the product is going to be cheap because it's not the best quality. So basically it's about it. But this is one way in order to develop a country, because when you have a cheap labor, the other countries, big countries, is going to start looking for you because you first that's your thing, that's your plus, because you have the cheap labor, so you can make a lot of things. The people over there is going to work really hard and for a long time, and for the just like country, maybe but like USA maybe he's going to find, or he's going to ask China or ask a country that have cheap labor to work with him, or work with it, because it's going to cost really low. It's not gonna be really a really high price, because it's that the country have cheap labor. In my opinion, I think that is a good solution in order to develop a country, because if you don't have cheap labor in just like country, or the country of the first world, whatever you wanna call it, they're going to start to ask you for more people. They're going to create more companies in the country. They're going to start invest in that country, because the cheap labor is going to help with that economy in that country. Some cases it works, in other cases it doesn't work, but for me it's a good solution in order to develop a country. If China can do it, why other country can do it? So we have to find that China is a little populated country, and the quality of life is not good, but it's not good enough. But I think that it's going to be a really good, well, it's a good way in order to develop a country. Also, we discussed in class about strategic management. The strategic management means like a procedure that the managers have to do to make the best decision with this company. You have to keep in mind everything about globalization, everything about this world, what is happening in the market, what is the prices about everything, what is happening around the world, as I said before, what is happening with this competence, about his competition, how they behave the market in that moment, how they behave of certain product. That's so it has a lot of things in the strategic management. But it's basically that it's like a procedure that a manager have to do in order to make the best decision and to make this company to grow, to make it better, bigger, and, and that's basically that is make the best decision, take the right choice, um, follow that procedure. Maybe you have to choose the strategy, how you are going to apply that strategy. Is that strategy going to work? Why I choose that strategy? There's a lot of things that the manager have to do or have to have in his mind, because that's the way, or that is the decision, or that decision that he make is going to affect everything in his company. Everything is going to affect about the decision that the manager is going to do. So strategic management is it has to do with everything in the market and everything, and also is really good for the manager because it's going to these managers because it's going to let him know how's the market in that moment, how is the market in the world, and how's the economy in the country, everything. So by doing this strategic management, a manager can take the best decision in the company, as I said before, in order to make it bigger, um, and more competitive with this competition. So I think basically is that's all that we are discussing we were discussing the country in the class.